Hey everyone, it's Erin Melton again. Awesome to talk to you guys again, and I'm super excited about who we have on today. It is Jay Kinder, who is actually my sponsor to EXP. So this is really exciting. Thank you for being with us, Jay.
Oh, I'm happy to do it. I love it. I love doing this, and I'm happy to add value in any way I can.
This is really cool. And I was actually I was talking to Jay just a moment ago before we got on and was talking about how it was exactly about a year ago that we were getting on here and doing the announcement. And I was absolutely petrified to be on camera. So that's just testament for how much you guys have added value and changed things for people. So well, anyways, Jay, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in real estate, because not
Yeah,
everyone knows the story.
yeah. So I mean, the natural way someone finds their way into real estate, not by choice necessarily. I think I remember I was mowing yards for my dad. He had rental property, tons of rental property that he managed, and that was what I was doing. I was going to college and I was mowing yards, had a little landscape company going. And I remember walking in one day and a guy named Rusty Williams was getting his check signed right before me, which my check was, I think, about $400 and his was
Gotcha.
like 5,000 or something like
And
that.
you're
And
like,
I was like,
"Hmm,
he didn't even look like he broke a sweat today. And so I never really wanted to get into real estate because, my perspective of what real estate was, my dad being
yes."
in a bad mood on, right before we go on
Mhm,
vacation,
mhm.
because it's so hard to leave your business sometimes. And,
Exactly.
and, and so, yeah, so it wasn't the first thing I wanted to do. In fact, I never had really wanted to do it until I saw there was an opportunity there. And I was like, well, shoot, if, I could do that once a month, that'd be great. And so, my dad actually sent me to a Dale Carnegie class when I was
Okay.
18 or 19, somewhere right in there. And
Wow.
that was what really helped me because I was kind of ornery, but I wasn't, I couldn't get in front of people and speak and things like that. So it was, making calls and the phone, stuff like that. That was not something that I was going to be really good at unless
Right.
I had some training. And so that the Dale Carnegie training was really helpful for me. And then, you get your real estate license. I think I flunked twice,
Right.
and
Me too.
then then I finally passed it, and it's like, okay, now what, right? And
Right.
but that's how I got into real estate, and I'm really glad I did. It's been a really great industry to be a part of.
And that's really cool because, my parents weren't in real estate, and I had no plan to get into real estate myself. Never would have thought, "Oh, when you grow up, what are you gonna do?" "I'm gonna be a realtor."
Yeah.
And I know that my kids too have the same perspective of both of them said when they were little, like, "We will never go into real estate." One has.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So, never say never. I
That's
definitely
right.
get what you mean there about there. So talk to us a little bit more about your specialty, which is doubling your business.
Yeah. So, it's kind of crazy because there's so much opportunity in real estate. I think that's what really hangs most agents up from becoming really truly successful. And over the years, I had got to a point where actually I doubled, I think 3 or 4 years in a row, all the way to the point where I was doing 500 plus transactions a year. And there was just this momentum that had been created, and I didn't exactly know all the things I did right because you typically do 3 or 4 things wrong and then one thing kind of works, and then so like looking back, it wasn't real easy to say, well, this is what I did.
Yes.
But I had a good friend that got in the business. Most people know Michael Reese, and he started even before he had his real estate license. He had the same website that I had, which was generating me like 300 leads a month. And so he was already generating leads even like before he even got his real estate license. And so it was just doing the right thing. And then we talked every day for like 2 years, and Mike built his business to a million. I think his third year he did over a million 1.2 million or 1.3 million, something crazy like that, is his third year in the business. And so I saw that he didn't make the mistakes that I made because I was helping him not make those mistakes. And
Right.
so as we started coaching agents in 2006, we became more passionate about helping agents, grow their business. It became more fulfilling to do that than to go sell another one. Right. And so
Right.
that was just fun and helping agents. But that was, seeing that you could grow it so much faster and so much bigger. And I was like, why didn't anybody else show me that? Right. Like,
Mhm.
why is there nobody out there that's teaching people how to, successfully grow? Why do I have to figure it all out? Like, trial and error, and you
Yes.
buy this thing, you buy that thing, you pay
Right.
this person, you pay that person. And there's just so much out there to do. No one was really helping you create a plan from wherever you're at to you really maximize the things you do along the way so that you can maximize the growth. And so we kind of figured that out and started helping other agents do the same thing. And that's really what we've been doing since then, is helping people really build success, build a successful brand in a marketplace, and build a successful business on top of that brand. And that's really what what gets me up early in the morning wanting to work.
And that makes sense, and that kinda, like, transitions back to what would you say your why is? You may have already said it.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, yeah, because that's the most fulfilling thing, is when you see other people win, and you
Yeah.
you you played some kind of role in helping them become
Mhm.
more successful. There's really, that feels really good. And so, we were experiencing that because, we were, I believe that you have to invest in yourself if you want to become successful. And I've always invested in being in parts of groups and going to coaching. I paid everybody money. I didn't care who it was.
Right.
Like, if I felt like they could help me, I always learned something. And so that was, a mindset that I've always had was, you got to invest in yourself if you want to really grow. And so being around those people and having, leverage, top people, that are willing to help you along the
Yes.
way because they're successful, and you start to see, well, hey, that this abundance mindset is really what it's all about. And so, you got to pay it forward and help others with the gifts that you have. And you start to learn that that's more fulfilling. Those conversations when you're not getting paid, but you're just helping people, is really where you feel the most fulfillment, when you're working with someone that actually does what it is you tell them to do, right? So like,
Exactly.
it's not fun when you have to tell someone, here's what you need to do to be successful, and then they don't do it. That's not
Right.
fun at all.
Right.
There's no fulfillment in that, because it just frustrates you, because it's like, hey, you could be more than
Right.
this. You could
You have
have more.
so
You could.
much potential, just
Right.
do it.
Right, like, don't be afraid of it, like, step into the
Yeah.
darkness,
Yes,
so,
yes.
like, right, and that's, really, embrace the struggle. If I tell you anything, like, if you're not in the struggle, then you're not growing, you're right, you're playing it safe. And so, like, you have to embrace the struggle, step into the darkness, whatever you wanna call it, but you have to go do things that are gonna make you uncomfortable if you wanna grow. And so, if you get comfortable with that as the mindset, then it's not as bad. It still sucks. You know what I'm saying? You still have to
It
do
does.
stuff that is
It
hard and
does.
that you don't want to do. But
Mhm.
but it's a lot easier when you understand, well, this is just me growing. This is just me
Exactly.
becoming a better version of myself. And I love helping people through that process, and helping successful people win bigger. And build a more successful business. Those are things that just excite me, is
Yeah.
seeing other people succeed.
That is awesome. That is awesome, and you talking about that too. There's a podcast that I listen to on a regular basis. It's called The Science of Success. I don't know if you've
Mm,
ever heard of it before,
yeah. Yep.
but I'll put it on, and they always run things different there. And there's one in particular that was about, living up to your complete potential, and the
Mm,
whole thing about high achievers, and the flow and
mhm,
the grittiness. And I was like, what you just said, that like hit the nail on the head. The stepping into the darkness is
mm,
uncomfortable. It is not fun, but it's
mm-mm.
that grittiness and actually realizing that nobody wants to be there, but it's the people that achieve and push through those things that realize that it's like, hey, sometimes it's just you're gonna be gritty, you're gritty, and it hurts because you are growing, you're working towards something big. And that
Right.
is, it is, I this year has been such a growing experience that, and we can't thank you enough for, geez, the people you have connected us with.
that's
My
that's
God.
that's another piece of the puzzle. I think everybody kind of knows this, right? This isn't something new, but who are you spending your time with, and how are they challenging you to become better? How are they pushing you to do more and step into the darkness yourself? And when you're around those kind of people, and I'll be honest, Mike was that person for me. I mean, that guy would call me every morning. I remember, going through the downturn in 07, 08 was really hard, and a lot of people didn't make it through. And I never been challenged so much in my
Yeah,
life. But he would call me it was at 4 o'clock, 4 something every day, and every single day. Like, he wasn't giving up, and he wouldn't let me either. And that was just part of that environment that helped me stay successful. Was
exactly.
even when it gets really, really hard, you still got to get up and do the work anyway. So that's who you spend your time with, is really probably, we know that we know better than to let our kids hang out with the
Yeah.
wrong people, but are we doing the same with our adult lives? And I think that's something that everybody has to kind of face at some point if you want to become successful. Is who are those people you're around, and
Mhm.
are they helping you become a better person?
Right. Definitely. What would your adolescent self not recognize about Jay today?
Mm, that's a good one. Yeah, all I have to do is think of Braden, my son, who's 22, and think of what he would say, where he's at, right? And so it's awesome to kind of have that experience of having, he's in the business and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know, the adolescent self. There's so much you think that you don't at that age. I think that probably the biggest aha that I ever really had was I thought I was doing it for myself and for things that I wanted and vision board with all these nice things and everything else. But like
Yeah.
I think the part that as an adolescent that I didn't understand at the time would have been it's all about adding value to people's lives. Like
Mhm.
that's really what you're trying to get to. You don't know
Yeah.
this yet, but that's really what it's about. But I didn't learn
Mhm.
that till a little bit later. And then once I experienced it, and Braden's getting to experience it now because he's like he texts me almost every day. He's like, I love what I do, like love what I do, and
Oh,
he's
that's
helping
awesome.
build funnels for people and solving a problem that, to be honest with you, if I needed to build a funnel, I couldn't do it right. I mean, I would probably
Right.
screw it up. So like Braden having that skill set and being able to actually help people, like it's a long day, I'm sure, of calls for him, but at the same time, he knows he's making a difference in helping
Mhm.
people, and that he's already at a younger age than I did recognized that hey, that's really like I can do this all day. I can do this
Yeah.
for my rest of my life because it feels good to do it, right? And not
Mhm.
all of us have experiences like that
No.
at a young age, I don't think.
No, that's really, really great about that. So I know kind of like going back to the whole, doubling your business, and I know you touched on branding.
Yeah.
And I know that you guys have I know I've watched a lot of podcasts, I know I've heard a lot of stories and all that stuff, but, you know, there was something in particular that someone had brought up to me, and it had to do something with the Hummer being wrapped.
Yeah.
Any good stories about that one?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it really like to simply break down like what it takes for you to become kind of the go-to agent in a marketplace.
Mhm.
And I learned this first through my own experience and then through helping others do the same thing. Is you got to understand that no matter who the audience is, whether it's an audience on Facebook or it's an audience, a neighborhood, or it's the whole entire city, whatever, there's the person that somebody thinks of first is going
Mhm.
to get the phone call when it's time to sell a house.
Right.
Buyers don't typically say, "Oh, who's the agent I should call?" They might get referred to somebody,
Sure.
but a lot of times they end up just doing a home search and they find an agent in the process. But
Mhm.
sellers are different. Sellers, they pick up the phone and they call the person that they think of first. And so you have the
Right.
ability to be first of mind in a certain population or audience of people. And one of the things that was that I recognized early on was that when people see you everywhere, you start to get that feedback. It's like, man, I feel like I see you everywhere. The
Right.
more signs that I would have up, the more times I was doing open houses, the more signs I would put up for open houses, the vehicles that were wrapped, all those types of things, and then billboards and newspaper and and direct mail and all these things. Like there was a certain amount of impressions that people would see me, and then they would be thinking of me first, and they would just call and say, "Hey, I want to." They didn't know me, they didn't know, like, and trust me, but they felt like they did. And
Right.
I learned later through the marketing lessons and things that I learned why all this stuff worked. But it's essentially you became top of mind for them when the subject of real estate came up, and then oftentimes it's you became top of mind for somebody that had influence in their decision and said, "Hey, you need to call this Jay Kinder guy. He's I listen to him on Kayla every morning." Da, 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 da. And I would get those types of referrals. And so it really is building your own personal brand. And you get to a point where you're trying to build a business, and you think, well, maybe my it's my team, it's my logo, it's this, it's that. People refer people, and it's
Yeah.
a relationship business. And so you have to be relatable. They have to see your picture on the sign and relate that to the wrapped vehicle. It has to be you have to put your face on it, whether you like your
Right.
face or not. and
Right.
that's and that's something I think some people have a hard time with. But it was absolutely the thing that really propelled my business was becoming the brand through larger media type things. And the wrapped vehicle is just the cheapest way to do that, right? Like, I mean, it's cheaper than something I'm going to drive and it's wrapped, as long as you don't drive like an idiot, which I did for most of my life, but tried not to once I wrapped my vehicle. Um, but those are all things that are going to enhance your brand and enhance people seeing you everywhere in the marketplace. And we've got clients that I remember she had 7 mini Hummers for her team, or what are they called, Mini Coopers, and they were all wrapped and they all had advertising, so they were all offset. The cost of them didn't cost anything to have those.
Okay.
But you drive around town, you see them everywhere. Like, you'd be like, she's
Right.
got to be the only real estate agent in town. There's cars everywhere. And so, like, that strategy, her agents were responsible for helping sell the advertising on the back of it. So they were
Okay.
responsible for getting a vendor to comp the cost of the car. And then I think the only expense they had was wrapping them the one time, and then you have those for probably 3 to 5 years, and
Right.
they're being paid for by your agents, and it's a vehicle they get to drive every day. So it just there's so much value in understanding branding, and it's not easy to do, because most things are kind of expensive to do, and you kind of give up on it before it usually starts working. And so
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's the number one failure mistake, is not understanding what it takes for something to actually start working, and having a kind of an understanding of that before you get into it.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's the wrap vehicles were a hit. People mentioned them all the time, and I had one for, I've had wrapped vehicles for, probably 20 years, and I'm not it's not actively selling today, but I still would wrap my vehicle. What I
Yeah.
ran into in Texas was, Mike had like at some point, 4 wrapped Hummers, and you couldn't have them in some of the neighborhood associations, had that you can't have wrapped vehicles. So it's
Oh.
started to become a problem, because they don't know, they just they would put it in the bylaws of the homeowner association that you can't have one parked in your driveway or whatever.
Oh
And
my
I didn't
gosh.
run into that in Lawton, but that was something that did happen from time to time, I guess, apparently.
Oh my goodness. What would you say being part of EXP and creating the Honey Badger Nation, how does it make you feel?
Yeah, man, it's the most fun I've ever had in business. And it's an incredible ride. This company is phenomenal. I think most people that aren't in on the inside don't know, because they're not on the inside yet. And
Nope.
that's the hardest thing for me, is like, I can't show you what a good time in the water park is unless you come to the water park.
Exactly.
You gotta take a look at it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's a lot of fun. And so I can't believe that 3 years ago, you know 3 years ago, our vision prior to joining EXP was to have 2,000 partners, nationwide. And we were moving down that track pretty fast. And we saw EXP was a way for us to do it, and not have to charge money to our clientele. And we get to partner together and add as much value as we can, and never ask for a credit card. And that was a really enlightening kind of idea, that, hey, well, maybe this platform is a better way for us to do what we're doing.
right.
And the opportunity was truthfully bigger at EXP. And so today, I think it was almost 5,500 agents, I think, in the group today. It's a little less than that, but and some of the top people in the industry, like literally the top people in the industry, that are all abundance mindset, helping each
Yeah,
other. When I go and look at the comments in the Honey Badger group, I'm like the top 5 people that commented are all people that were way overqualified to even answer that, right? Like, and,
exactly.
and that's a cool feeling to see. It's cool to see that we assembled something within EXP that's making the difference in people's lives.
Absolutely. And it so is. And you've been in the business a long time. So have I. Even if you have good relationships with people and you've got a lot of people that you network with, and you could call them if you needed a favor, what have you. Inevitably, if the two of you are sitting down for the same listing appointment, not that you're going to say anything bad about them, but you are
Mm.
in direct competition. And that has been such a novel concept that it has taken such a little bit of time to get used to, that it's like you put
Yeah.
the question out there and there are people calling you and on the phone with you for an hour, and you have her like, you want to go, do you know who I'm not?
Right.
And I know who you are. And
Right.
you're taking this time to talk to me. And that has been the amazing. I mean, it's just an awesome thing you've created, because it is
Yeah.
truly how the business should be. That we're
It.
not competing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. You rarely imagine today, if we all had the secret sauce right now for getting
Mhm.
listings, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yes.
like I found it, the fountain of youth. This is it for getting listings. You're not gonna believe it.
Right.
You would, even if you're a really an abundant person, you're
Exactly.
probably not going to share that with the agent across the hall that's your number one competitor. You're
Right.
most certainly not going to you're most certainly not going to tell them about it, right? And so
Right.
there there just isn't this environment, and I've seen it because I paid a lot of money to be in them and then create them ultimately with
Mhm.
masterminds and stuff like that. So I've seen
Right.
what it's like to see, you get in the room and you're the dumbest one in the room, and then everyone else is sharing everything, and you're like, that's like seeing the future. If you're running into this problem,
Yeah.
I'm below you and I'm on my way to that. Now I know I'm gonna have to do. I need to be listening to this so I don't
Yes.
have the same problem. And so like all of that, I've seen the environments before, but you had to pay a lot of money and
Right.
you had to travel around and all these other things. And now all that exists, within the framework of a cloud-based brokerage
Mhm.
called EXP Realty, and we get to tap into that and benefit from all of that, and so does everybody else without having to spend that money. And that's a magical thing. As much as I hope everybody listening gets that, it's really
Yes.
hard to get. It's an intangible thing of value. But like, let me tell you something. If you want the secret to success, it's find someone who's gotten to where you want to get and model
Mhm.
what they do. And when you have an abundant group of people that all are at a level above where you're going to get sucked up to the top regardless, just
Real
because
fast.
they're going to change the way you think.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
For sure. For
love
sure,
that.
for sure. No, this has been so great, and I'm so glad that, you know, my team member had the foresight to reach out to you because I knew we were floundering and there needed to be a change, but I just didn't realize there was something like this out there, and I'm just so
Yeah,
excited to be a part of that. So Jay, if people wanted to get, obviously you've got all of your stuff to go to Jay Kinder if people had more questions about
sure.
finding out how to be part of things and all, and that would be the best way to get a hold of you and all?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean, I'm always happy to answer questions. I would say if you're listening to this and you know Erin or you've been following Erin, reach out to her. Like, have a conversation. There's no harm in learning the truth, right? Try to get to truth. There's no right, there's no wrong, there's only truth. So learn about the business model of EXP. Let her show you around and show you what, some of the examples of what it's done for her and her business, and have a conversation. What do you have to lose, right? Like, either you're winning on all levels or it could be better. And if it could be better and you're not having a conversation with Aaron, I think that's just a mistake. So that's what I would advise anybody to do.
That is awesome, and the good thing to know is if you know Jay and you know me, now you know that you have this, built-in vacation place down in Puerto Rico,
Right.
right?
Yes, it's a revolving door since I've moved to Puerto Rico. It's the one thing I didn't expect, actually, because I don't know, you just don't think that many people are going to travel to Puerto Rico to come visit.
Guess
But
what?
that is absolutely the opposite. Everybody comes. It's awesome. I mean, it's a little bit hard to focus because I want to entertain every time somebody's here. So it's
Uh-huh.
like I got to do
You're
some
like,
work every once in a while.
I gotta work, or,
Right. Yeah.
I gotta work a little bit,
Yeah.
Well,
No,
you look
it's
great. I
beautiful. Well,
definitely need to
thanks.
get down there because your coloring is a
Yeah.
lot better than the rest of ours.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of sun these days, that's for sure.
That's awesome. Well, Jay, thank you again so much for coming on the
Yeah,
podcast, and I do hope that we finally get some sort of chance to meet one of these days.
absolutely. Absolutely will. This COVID thing's it's run its course. We're about to have some events and get to spend some time together.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Take care.
You too.